Welcome back to Glenn's Vintage Radio on YouTube. I've decided to take a bit of a departure from the normal radio restorations I've been doing to try my hand at building a practice amp for my daughter's significant other, Ben. They're building a house in British Columbia, and he's been working pretty hard, and he likes to play musical instruments, but he has no amp. So I picked this Fender Bassman up at a pawn shop, and when I plugged it in, I wasn't expecting it to work. It had a smoking chip in it, so I have decided to gut that and build a tube amp. And Terry Dayton at D-labs makes these little boards and gives you some nice diagrams for building some small boutique and practice amps. And here's the one I chose. It's just a 3-tube model, and lots of fun to work on. So his little boards that he provides makes it basically a paint by numbers situation. So here I've pulled the existing amp out, stripped everything out of it, and peeled all the labeling off. Here's where I've laid out the power transformer, the audio transformer, and the 3 tubes that go in this amplifier. I'm just trying to see if everything will fit. And once I determined that was going to work out, I went to my brother, got some tools that I needed for drilling holes in aluminum, and started the process. So here you can see it's all kind of laid out, ready to go, waiting for some parts that I have ordered. And we're in the middle of a postal strike when this went on, so yeah, not a lot of fun waiting. But in the interim, once everything was pulled apart and I had all new holes drilled, etc., there were a lot of holes in the front of the panel of this thing that needed to be covered. So I worked with my sister, who's really handy with vinyl and stuff, and her Cricut, and she cut me up some vinyl that I was able to use to disguise all the holes in the face of this poor old amp. And there it is, getting ready for the next step in the process. It was very clean, like the case on it, the speaker's good. So anyway, I was quite happy with how it was laid out. So here we go. I've got everything mounted. I'm waiting for my box of goodies to come in from Terry at D-Lab. And hallelujah, it finally arrived, probably a month and a half later than it normally would. No fault of Terry's, but we finally got our postal strike under control, so things started to move again. So here's my first shot at wiring this thing up. So I got it all together. Again, it was kind of a paint by numbers thing. Worked, but it had a bit of a buzz to it, and it was largely because of where I had put the audio transformer. You can see it on the bottom there on the outside of the chassis. I figured, you know, it's probably because of the wiring passing all of the filament wiring for the amplifier that was causing the buzz. So anyway, I decided to move that to the inside of the chassis. So here's a shot of the connections to the tubes on the back, and there it is laid out and all wired up. Again, the first attempt at it. And then you'll see in the next frame here, that I moved that audio transformer to the inside. You see it at the very top of the picture there, and moved all the wiring associated with it so that it was not passing all of the tubes. And that worked out quite nicely, and it gave me better access to the input jack at the back of the chassis. So my again, I was at the point now where I could go back to my sister and see if she could make me up some labels, and she did a nice job of matching the Fender type font, and created me these labels that I think look pretty good once they're placed on the amplifier. Put a nice little jewel light on there, so when you turn it on, it works. You can see that it's working. And the one thing I added to this was a thermistor so that it would slowly light up the tubes instead of hitting them with the bang. And there's the back. And luckily, the tubes don't stick out far enough to, make them a problem if you're carting this amp around. If you're somewhat reasonably careful, you're not going to be smashing the tubes on anything when you transport this amp around. So I went to a friend, Scott, who spent some time with me to give the amp a shot, or give it a try, since I know nothing about playing guitar.
There's something about the tube amp, like it just sounds so, it's hard to explain. It's like listening to a record, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Because Solid State is so almost like artificial.
So I want to thank Scott for taking the time to try out the amp for me. I have no musical talent and no way of really making sure that it was functioning properly without his help. So again, thank you to him, and thank you to Terry at D-Lab, the ECB board and the Cub board that he makes, along with the schematics and the wiring diagrams he provides, made the project really quite simple in the end, and certainly nothing to fear if you take your time and follow the instructions. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to Glenn's Vintage Radio on YouTube. And again, thank you very much for being here today.